Unfortunately, our expectations for this winter have now been sharply altered by the recent conflict in the Middle East. Because of that war, most of the Middle Eastern oil producers have reduced overall production and cut off their shipments of oil to the United States. By the end of this month, more than 2 million barrels a day of oil we expected to import into the United States will no longer be available. We must therefore face up to a very stark fact. We are heading toward the most acute shortages of energy since World War II. To be sure that there is enough oil to go around for the entire winter all over the country, it will be essential for all of us to live and work in lower temperatures. We must ask everyone to lower the thermostat in your home by at least 6 degrees so that we can achieve a national daytime average of 68 degrees. Incidentally, my doctor tells me that in a temperature of 66 to 68 degrees, you're really more healthy than when it's 75 to 78, if that's any comfort. In offices, factories, and commercial establishments, we must ask that you achieve the equivalent of a 10-degree reduction by either lowering the thermostat or curtailing working hours. Fourth, I am ordering additional reductions in the consumption of energy by the federal government. We have already taken steps to reduce the government's consumption by 7%. The cuts must now go deeper and must be made by every agency and every department in the government. I am directing that the daytime temperatures in federal offices be reduced immediately to a level of between 65 and 68 degrees. And that means in this room, too, as well as in every other room in the White House. In addition, I am ordering that all vehicles owned by the federal government, and there are over 500,000 of them, travel no faster than 50 miles per hour, except in emergencies. How many times have you gone along the highway or the freeway, wherever the case may be, and see hundreds and hundreds of cars with only one individual in that car? This we must all cooperate to change. Consistent with safety and economic considerations, I am also asking governors to take steps to reduce highway speed limits to 50 miles per hour. This action alone, if it is adopted on a nationwide basis, could save over 200,000 barrels of oil a day, just reducing the speed limit to 50 miles per hour. If shortages persist despite all of these actions and despite inevitable increases in the price of energy products, it may then become necessary to take even stronger measures. It is only prudent that we be ready to cut the consumption of oil products such as gasoline by rationing or by a fair system of taxation. And consequently, I have directed that contingency plans, if this becomes necessary, be prepared for that purpose. Now, some of you may wonder whether we're turning back the clock to another age. Gas rationing, oil shortages, reduced speed limits. They all sound like a way of life we left behind with Glenn Miller in the War of the 40s. Well, in fact, part of our current problem also stems from war, the war in the Middle East. But our deeper energy problems come not from war, but from peace and from abundance. We're running out of energy today because our economy has grown enormously, and because in prosperity, what were once considered luxuries are now considered necessities. How many of you can remember when it was very unusual to have a home air conditioned? And yet this is very common in almost all parts of the nation. As a result, the average American will consume as much energy in the next 7 days as most other people in the world will consume in an entire year. We have only 6% of the world's people in America, but we consume over 30% of all the energy in the world. Now our growing demands have bumped up against the limits of available supply. And until we provide new sources of energy for tomorrow, we must be prepared to tighten our belts today. Today, the challenge is to regain the strength we had earlier in this century, the strength of self-sufficiency.